welcome to GoneDrivin. For this week's video, I have my hands on the 2023 GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate. We're going to be seeing everything about it, some of the cool things about it, and also seeing why it's worth $110,000 Canadian. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe, because the more of you that subscribe, the more cooler cars I can get, just like this one over here. Now, everyone knows the Yukon as GMC's flagship SUV, and that is the case, especially when you have the Denali, which is the model that GM has been selling for quite some time. But now, for the 2023 model year, they've got an Ultimate trim level, which is basically higher or one level above the Denali. So you've got an Ultimate, which GMC still sells, but you've also got the GMC Ultimate, which is what we have this week. From the front of the Yukon Denali Ultimate, and this is exclusive to the Ultimate Edition, is the fact that this massive grille here, it's a Vader chrome finish. So basically, it's like this black chrome finish as opposed to the regular Denali, which is all just chrome. So you've got chrome. All of this would be chrome here in a regular Denali, but with the Denali Ultimate, all of this is actually finished in a dark chrome or a black chrome. And I personally like this a lot. And also the GMC logo is finished in black as opposed to the regular Denali, which would be a red logo. And then we've got these C-shaped headlights, which look phenomenal. It looks really nice. At nighttime, we'll put a clip of how they look, but I think it just adds to the overall look. And again, with the Vader chrome here, this pops out really, really nicely. Now, underneath the hood of the GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate, we've got a 6.3 liter V8 engine that produces 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. There is an optional diesel engine available as well. Personally speaking, I would get the V8 because I like the sound of it and I like how it feels and I like how it drives. However, if you do want a little bit more fuel efficiency, definitely go with the diesel, because the V8, yeah, it hurts the bank for sure. Now, from the side of the Yukon Denali Ultimate, you probably see the biggest difference, and it's the fact that this little thing is jacked up. Well, that's because the GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate comes with air suspension and the ability for you to actually adjust the height of this truck. So you can see right now it's on one of the highest settings. So I think this is the second highest setting. You can actually increase it a little bit more. What GM says is that you can increase it almost 2 inches off the ground, which is really cool, especially, if you have a lot to haul, or if you need to, depending on the road conditions, you might need the height, and it might help out a lot. And also, you've got a magnetic ride control, which makes the ride very comfortable. Again, we'll see that when we go for a drive. But overall, from the side, it looks really nice. I love how, we've got these 22-inch rims. Again, this is exclusive to the Denali Ultimate trim level. So the regular Denali gets different types of rims. And also, we've got a badge right over here. This would usually be chrome in a regular Denali, but in this one here, this is again the dark chrome, the black finish that we have. A little bit disappointing that there's no Ultimate badging here on the side, because, in a regular Denali, obviously you wouldn't expect to see that, but here I would expect to see the Ultimate badging, at least, kind of identifying or making this truck a little bit more exclusive than the regular Denali. From the rear of the Yukon Denali Ultimate, this basically looks, again, very identical to the regular Denali. Couple, again, major differences is the fact that we've got the dark chrome here again, and the GMC logo blacked out. And also, we've got these exhaust tips that look a little bit different than the actual the standard Denali. Maybe I'm just looking too much into it, but I have noticed that they're shaped a little bit different. And this one doesn't have the performance catback exhaust system either. I feel like if you are going to get the Yukon Denali Ultimate, might as well get the catback exhaust system. And now let's look at the trunk of the Yukon Denali Ultimate, because I'm sure that's a very important thing to a lot of potential future owners. So the way you open it, there's actually two ways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the keys out here. I'm going to show you guys. So the first option that you can do is you can open just the glass, which is very convenient if you just want to access a couple of things. So we're going to open this up here, and boom, you can just access or drop whatever you need to. You close this down, and if you want to actually open the whole trunk, you just press the keys, and it opens up. Power trunk, of course. You're paying $100,000 for a truck, you're gonna get a power trunk. You've also got a decent amount of space. Keep in mind, this truck does have third row seating. If you do it with the XL, you'll have a little bit more seating space or storage space. But we've got these headphones here, so don't mind them. These are for the actual TVs that we had in the second row. We've also got some mats here, but I'd say you could probably put a couple of bags in there. But here's the cooler part. So in order to fold these seats, what you do is you press this button right over here, and it goes down. So I'm gonna drop this down here, and then this one here as well. And you would think we're done here, but we can actually drop the second row as well just from here. So I'm gonna press this button here. Well, that's awkward. That one just went down, and the same thing for the other one. Boom, and now you've got all that space there to put whatever you want and do whatever you want. And it doesn't stop there. So you can actually fold the second row seats even more to have actual ease of entry and exit. The way you do it, you press this button right over here. That one just folded, and the same thing for the other one. Boom, now you've got actual space for your passengers or whoever just to walk right there, which is really nice. Now with the exterior out of the way for the Yukon Denali Ultimate, let's go ahead and check out the interior now. Alright, so currently looking at the rear seats of the GMC Yukon Denali, and you won't just be seeing this second row over here, but actually there's a third row right behind these seats, and it's actually quite spacious. And now how you get there? Well, let me show you here. So you press this little lever here, it goes down, you press it again, and it goes up, and then boom, you get right in, and there you are. Now the second row of the GMC Yukon Denali is where you want to be, because this place is luxurious, it's spacious, it's everything really that you want to be. After obviously the driver's seat, this is honestly where I would want to be. I would want to be driven in this thing because it's just so comfy. And we've got these captain's chairs here, which create so much space here. I have heard from my friends and other people that these seats do move a little bit, which is unfortunate, and maybe it has something to do with the build quality. But besides that, I think it's really, really fantastic. We've got these 12-inch touchscreen displays here in front of us to keep you entertained. I know there is HDMI outputs that you can plug into it, as well as wireless projection capabilities, but there's also YouTube Studio and some other apps that you can add on here. Maybe not in the Canadian models, but I know in the US models there's a few other options. But I think it's just very, very nice, especially if you have younger kids, to keep them entertained and keep them comfortable. This is where you want to be. And one more thing to note is that these displays come with wireless headphones, so the rear passengers can watch whatever they want and the driver does not get distracted. And then also just right over here, we've got the controls for the rear climate. We've got actually 2 HDMI ports right over here. So again, kind of goes back to the actual screen. So if you want to connect something right over here, even a PlayStation might work. I haven't tried it, but hey, if you want to give it a shot, it might be cool. You've also got rear heated seats, so these chairs, both of these here can be heated, which is really nice. And you've also got USB-C ports on the side here to charge your devices and anything else that you might have. And for some reason, if you're still not comfortable being in the second row of the GMC Yukon Denali, what you can do is you can recline both of these seats to get a little bit more comfortable. So what you do is the same way you fold these chairs, you just pull on the lever once, push your back, and boom. I think it's time for a nap break. Alright, so currently behind the wheel of the GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate. Now this is really where a lot of the magic lives for the Yukon Ultimate. Now I did have the Sierra Denali Ultimate as well a couple of weeks ago, and I figured this would be quite similar to that, but man, was I wrong. There's a couple of differences that I want to point out, but first and foremost are these Alpine Umber leather seats. They look really nice. This is perforated leather, and again with the Ultimate badging, and there's the biggest difference. The first difference that I want to point out are these Bose speaker systems here in the headrest. It made no sense to me why there would be a speaker in the headrest, but it is, and it looks really cool. It adds to the overall music experience of the car. There's 18 speakers with this Bose Performance enhanced speaker system, which just sounds fantastic. One recommendation I did have was the fact that the Denali, the standard Denali, comes with a couple of interior choices, and then the Ultimate comes with this Alpine Umber leather color. Why not add a couple more exclusive colors to the Ultimate Edition? I think that would be a nice little touch and, you know, add some more variety to the customers who are looking to get this truck. We've got these wooden inserts right over here, as well as next to the gear shifter, which just kind of adds to the whole Ultimate experience. And again, if I didn't mention earlier, you've got the Ultimate badge here, as well as the Mount Denali topography right here, as well as actually etched into the wood trim right over here, which is really, really nice. And now let's move on to the center console area, specifically the armrest area here. So again, covered with the Alpine Umber leather, looks really nice. You've got this little phone tray here, which again is quite standard. We saw that in the truck as well. Then you can lift this up and see some extra storage. Pretty nice. But you know what's better? Storage underneath this thing. Well, let me show you how you open it. So I'm going to start the car here. And then what you do is you press this button right over here. And boom, you got more space right over here. You can actually pull this tray out and you can put more stuff. So you know what? If storage is an issue or is a big thing for you, you got plenty of it right here underneath the armrest. And to close it back, you press the same button again. And boom, it's like there was never anything underneath there. And don't get me wrong, there is climate control accessibility from the screen itself, so you can change whatever you like from the screen. But GM decided to go with having hard buttons as well, because they know how important it is just to have these here while you're driving, especially because you know what? Having it on the screen makes it super distracting. Now that the car turned on, I do want to point out one thing, and that is the gear shifter selection that's going on here. So with most cars, you have the gears usually here near the armrest area, or in some of the older GM products, it used to be right over here. But in Yukon's case, you've got actual buttons here to toggle through all your gear shifters, which is really cool. And honestly, it took me a while to get used to it, but looking at it now and having the car for a couple of days now, it's actually quite convenient. Just having the gears here, you just press whatever button you want to go into, and boom, that's it. You know, I think part and part there is something to do with the luxurious aspect of having the buttons over here, but I honestly love it. I think it's a great idea. And then for the steering wheel, this is pretty much identical to the Sierra 1500 Denali that I had a little while ago. Pretty much identical. Only thing that's missing in this tester specifically is SuperCruise. However, that is an available option, and I think that is the ribbon on top for this truck, because having SuperCruise in a family SUV like this is just life-changing. It really is. You know, I obviously didn't have the chance to experience it in this one, but I have experienced SuperCruise before, and I think having it in this GMC, you know, especially if you have a family and for longer road trips, the SuperCruise is going to be your best friend. Some of the other notable things here on the left side of the GMC Yukon is your 360 camera, your ability to actually lower or increase the height of the GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate. That's right, you can only do that in the Ultimate, which is really nice. You've got a couple other things here, but basically it's pretty much identical to a lot of the other new GM products that have been coming out. So the infotainment screen basically remains the same. There are a couple of little modifications that you can do, which I'll show you guys in a moment, which we'll put a clip of, but that's about it. All right, so currently behind the wheel of the GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate, and right off the bat, the first thing that I noticed when I was driving this is the V8 engine in this is just phenomenal. When you floor it, definitely puts a smile to your face. Does this put a smile to your bank? Definitely not, but you know what? That's the price you gotta pay. I love the L87 engine, the V8 engine that's in this. There's also a diesel variant, and we'll kind of start off with that, honestly. So 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque, which is honestly, I feel like it's quite ample for a truck of this size. I know with the diesel variant, the horsepower is somewhere in the 200 range, and the torque is still the exact same. If you want some, you know, fuel efficiency, I would recommend getting the diesel. But if you want that, you know, loud grunt, if you have stuff to tow as well, I definitely recommend getting the V8. Now, moving away from the actual engine and the sportiness of this Yukon, and going back to what this truck is meant to do, and that is comfortable daily driving. That's literally what this truck was meant to do, or was built to do, and it does that so well. I mean, this truck specifically, the Ultimate, gets magnetic ride control and air ride suspension, and I can tell you right now, it makes all the world's difference. I mean, I haven't driven the Escalade, but I feel like if I had to imagine what an Escalade would drive like, it'd probably be very similar to this, because this is comfortable. I mean, seriously comfortable. You know, you've got that magnetic ride control, which just does amazing in potholes and bumps, and then you've got the air suspension, which lets you you know, decrease and increase the height of the truck depending on where you are, depending on the situation, and that's just really nice. It's also a cool little party trick, if I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you know, I've had a couple people in the car, and everyone that comes in, I always show them the air ride suspension. You can kind of see the truck or the car, you know, moving itself up and moving itself down. So that's a really cool little party trick. And I genuinely feel like you're the king of the road when you're driving this thing, especially with the Ultimate. You know, this premium interior, you've got the adaptive cruise control, you've got all these luxurious features like the massaging seats. It just adds to the overall experience, and you know, once you have that, it's like wow, like I'm really the king of the road. But what's the price of that? You pay almost $113,000 to get this car before the SuperCruise, before any of the other options that you can get. So it definitely gets quite pricey, and that's the next thing I want to address is it worth the price tag that it comes for? Personally, my answer to that question would be, it depends on who you ask. I mean, obviously the price tag is quite steep, and there is a very certain demographic of people and group of people that can really afford this truck. And that's really who GM is catering this truck for. I mean, you know, there's people, because this is not too far off from a Cadillac Escalade. Sure, it doesn't have, like, you know, all the luxury screens that the Escalade has, but I mean, at its core, this is pretty much how an Escalade would drive. I'm like almost certain that that's the case. You know, obviously with the Cadillac Escalade, that you have the branding and the whole stuff around it, but this truck here, you get the ruggedness, and I think that's what GMC is all about, right? So you have the luxury, but you also have a little bit of ruggedness, and that's what some people want. You know, I was watching somewhere, I think I was watching someone's video, and you know, it's for people really this truck is really for people who want to get, you know, the most luxurious, fanciest truck with the most absurd price tag, but they don't want to flaunt it. You know, they want to be kind of low-key about it, and that's when you get the GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate. All right, so we're just gonna take the Yukon here on the highway to get some highway driving done, and going back to the SuperCruise feature that I was talking about. So the Yukon Denali Ultimate does come with SuperCruise. Keep in mind, it is an available option. Unfortunately, my tester just is not equipped with it, but I feel like having that SuperCruise feature is gonna be like the ribbon and the icing on the cake for this truck, because again, this is an SUV for large families. You know, you're taking this truck on road trips and stuff like that. SuperCruise is gonna be your best friend. So, you know, unfortunately I couldn't try it out on this truck, but I know how it works, and I think, you know, when it works really well. And then the massaging seats, as well as the heated and cooled seats, just add to the overall luxurious experience as well. You know, it's definitely a little scary to have that on at night, especially when you're a little tired. I was driving this truck a couple nights ago at nighttime, and I have my massage seats on, and it might almost put you to sleep. But you know, I think that's the overall purpose of a Yukon Denali. It's providing that luxury, providing that comfort. It definitely comes at a steep price tag, but I feel like you're getting what you're paying for. The build quality and all that, you know, other speculation and all those controversies, really, that's one thing to set aside. I know GM's been working really hard to improve on that, but if you just set that aside, you can really see that you get, for $115,000, you get a pretty luxurious and a pretty well together truck. It's definitely pushing, again, the price tags of the European luxury cars. But you know what? The space that you get in this truck is probably the most out of any other German luxury SUV you can get right now in the market. And the technology, you know, it's got all the technology that you wanted. You know, you've got the 360 cameras. Literally, almost every angle you can imagine, you have a camera angle for that, which is really nice to see. You've also got adaptive cruise control, which is really nice. You've got automatic, you know, emergency braking, rear parking braking. You've also got automatic parking. So the way that works is that you turn that feature on, let's say if you want to park in a mall or, you know, wherever you are, and essentially it will try to look for that parking spot and then it will park for you. I haven't had a chance to fully try it out yet. If I do, I'll put a clip of it, but so far I haven't had a chance to try it out, but I'm sure the system works just fine. And then the screen I've got here, we've got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Both are available. You've also got, you know, Google Maps built into it. One unfortunate thing is the fact that Google Maps won't work once you run out of your GM data, like the data plan that GM offers, which is a little bit unfortunate if you ask me. I mean, you know, why would there be Google Maps if you can't use it after a certain point? It's a bit of a money grab, if I'm being honest. I can see how that can be a money grab and how that would make GM some extra funds, but I personally am not a big fan of that. And I think I'm going to leave off this review with, you know, trying to address the question that everyone probably has on their mind. Why would anyone spend over $100,000 on a GMC product? Well, the simple answer is preference. That's literally all it is. You know, it comes down to preference, and it comes down to the loyalty. There's people who I've heard and you know that will only buy GMC Yukons year over year, you know, decade over decade, because they're such a big fan of the product and you know what it provides to them. And that's kind of what this truck's all about, you know, especially with the Ultimate. This is the first time ever that GMC has decided to, you know, unveil it as a separate trim level with the Yukon and as well as other products. And I think it's worked really well for them. I mean, you know, people who are going to want the GMC Yukon Denali, they'll look at this Ultimate trim level and say, you know, hey, this kind of meets my needs and it's exactly what I want. And they'll get it. And again, from the outside, this truck is so low-key and so like no one really knows that this truck costs that much. But you know what? If you know, you know. And with that, we'll take it outside. And with that, my review on the 2023 GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate comes to an end. If you enjoy watching this video, make sure you like button. Let me know in the comments below if you see something that specifically you really liked about this car. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time with a brand new video.